Sukumaran Lokman and Company. I am Hannah Lokman, an associate at this firm.
I'm Deepa. I'm the senior associate. I'm Anushri. I'm the audit officer.
Let's begin with the first question. Tell us about yourself and why you're interested in this position.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lamtrizi. My friends and family all call me Chelsea. This year I'm 19 and I'm a first year law student at the University of Malaya. I realized that I'm really interested in using my voice to bring a change for the people, which is why I actually chose to study law. I actually decided to apply for the internship at this firm because I really look up to the dispute resolution that you do, and I'm really willing to learn and expand my horizons in this legal field so far as my first year here.
Morning, my name is Sheshan. I'm also a first year law student at University of Malaya. And a little bit about myself is that I enjoy playing a piano and I've always been interested in the way people think, and that is why I chose law. The reason I chose this firm is that I've always looked up at Dr. Lokman and how he has played a crucial part in many notable cases.
Very good morning to all interviewers. My name is Bina. All my friends and family call me by Bina. I'm a third year law student at the Faculty of Law, University of Malaya. I've recently had a lot of interest at your firm because prior to this, I was a very keen mooter. I've done mooting skills to gain practical legal advocacy skills. And besides that, I've also joined in on the legal aid clinic at University of Malaya, where I got to see different and varieties of cases. I think one of the reasons why I really would enjoy interning at your firm is because of Tan Sri Sukumaran's extensive experiences in constitutional law. It's an area of law that I really personally have interest into, especially with the case of the Sisters in Islam in the Federal Court yesterday, where Tan Sri Sukumaran have done so well. And I think that's probably why I would really love to intern at Sukumaran, Lokman and Company.
Good morning. My name is Nova Darshini. I recently completed my STPM and applied to pursue a degree in law. Waiting for my admission, I've also been actively involved in Free Trade Society and environmental NGO. Experience has definitely strengthened my communication and teamwork skills.
That's really nice to know all of you. It brings me to my young days back in law school in UM. I was there once. But again, moving on to our second question, what are your greatest strengths and weaknesses?
That's a very great question actually. I would say that one of the things that people would actually describe me is I'm more of a glass half full kind of person. So I face everything with a little bit of positivity in my life, and with that said, it's much easier for me to overcome certain life obstacles or challenges because everything that I face is with a positive mindset. In terms of my weaknesses, I would say that as of recently, I've come to realize I spend a little bit too much time overthinking and sort of taking my time in terms of my work because I'm very particular about how quality that this product will become. And so in terms of time efficiency, I think I could become more efficient.
Thank you, Chelsea. That was very interesting. I just have one question, which would be, how do you balance meeting deadlines and working with people who may work at a faster pace than you do?
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. I think that's a very good question. Actually, I had a tendency to sort of have a lack of a work-life balance occasionally because I'm somebody who's quite restless in my dedication of my work. The process of how long I take to do a work on my own end is a longer time, which kind of takes up a lot of my time in my personal life. So because this is more so an internal issue and it's more so my own personal life, my own personal times issue. So in terms of deadlines, I think it should be okay.
So as for my strengths and weaknesses, I would say my greatest strength would be adaptability. And this is because I found that I've been able to adapt in unfamiliar situations or to meet tight deadlines. And when I say adapt, it usually comes down to two different parts. One is adapting to the situation, and the second one is adapting to people. So when it comes to as what I previously mentioned, when it comes to adapting to situations, it's if a problem arises, say something cancels, we need to go somewhere at a certain time, I know how to deal with it, and I would not instead of stressing, I would find solutions on how to solve it. And then when it comes to talking about people, so I adapt to people because I believe that in law, the main purpose is to understand people because it's a social thing. And what is law? Law is it was because of people by people. So when I say dealing with people, is I understand their problems, I understand why they do certain things. And then as for weaknesses, I think I would take on too many responsibilities at a time. So I also was in a law society, and at the same time I was mooting and I was debating. And because of this, I would say my weaknesses would be I take on too many things.
Seshan, since you mentioned that you sometimes take too much of commitments, how do you plan to manage your time during time and responsibility during this internship?
That's a great question, and it's a question that I've been thinking about quite seriously before I applied for this position. And I know if I'm not careful during the period of my internship, it would be disastrous in a sense. So what I would do, firstly, I would keep my external commitments to a minimum, or the bare minimum during this period. For example, my mooting and debate, I don't have to commit for that. And for my law society, my tenure has ended. So based off this, there is no other external commitment. But if any were to arise, I would obviously weigh the pros and cons, and obviously since I'm applying for this and this will be my first and most important commitment, I will obviously prioritize my internship.
Nice to hear from Chelsea and Sheshan's point of view as well. For myself though, I think my greatest strength would be discipline and commitment. I think I've honed that discipline and commitment through my previous commitments from Law Society, which is one of the biggest examples I would like to give. As my previous tenure when I was the Vice President of the Law Society, my weaknesses I think would be an overthinker, but not that in that sense. I think I like my work to be done in a specific way, and in a group setting it used to be difficult because many people, many opinions, and many different styles of doing things. So I think that's something I adapted to and I had to learn. So I overcame it by being in various clubs, and I think I can confidently say that now I am a group team worker, and I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, one of my greatest strengths is my willingness to learn. Coming from a non-law background but being passionate about it, I always take the initiative, whether it's learning about legal processes or helping in community work at the NGO. My greatest weakness I think might be my lack of legal experience, but that's exactly why I'm applying for this internship, to gain hands-on exposure before I officially start law school.
Thank you so much for the answers from you guys. I'm so happy that you guys are aware of your own strengths and weaknesses. And about the weakness part, let me tell you something, you guys have a long way to go and you guys can overcome it eventually. Which is, describe a time when you faced a challenge and how you overcame it.
So during one of our NGO events at Free Trade Society, we had a last-minute speaker cancellation, and I was asked to step in and speak about our environmental mission. Public speaking was a challenge for me, but I didn't want to let the team down, so I took a few minutes to organize my thoughts, focus on what I believed in, and delivered a short but meaningful speech.
That's a great example. How did your experience actually change the way for you to approach similar situations now, especially when you get asked to step out of your comfort zone?
Oh, that's a great question. So I think that experience has taught me that walking away from my comfort zone usually results in growth. Since then, I do not look at challenges as something to avoid. I look at them as a learning opportunity instead.
In terms of the obstacles that I faced in my life, recently I was actually a part of my Sudan project, which is actually a service learning project where we advocated for the people with disabilities. So in this project, we invited 3 panelists who came and gave an academic discourse on the Person with Disability Act. And the day before this event, actually, one of the members of my team actually informed me that we needed a moderator for the session. And since there was nobody else to rise to the occasion, I was put onto the limelight and I had to make a moderator script on the same day that the event was occurring on. I actually had to prepare a whole script and I had to research about each of the speakers and also their backgrounds, so I could personalize questions better for them based on their perspective of the Persons with Disabilities Act. It was a great opportunity for me to really learn how to engage in this sort of setting, and I would say that the overall result came out quite well.
I think for me, one of the biggest challenges or obstacles that I faced is probably during the Lex Factor Witnessing Justice in Action. It was an event held where we brought 4th-year law students to the court, and this day they were supposed to be witnessing a trial, but instead of a trial we got to know that they were going to be witnessing a case management. So there was like some sort of mishap or miscommunication that had happened between the liaison officers and us. So we had to do troubleshooting last minute, and we saw what we could do because they wanted to see a trial case, and a trial case is of course more beneficial. And so at the end of the day, we came to a common ground and we were able to make them at least watch one trial case. And so I think that was a challenge that we overcome.
Thank you, Vina. That was very interesting. I just have one follow-up question for you, which is how do you break down a challenge that initially feels very overwhelming?
That's a great question. I think how I would break it down would be, first of all, don't panic. Take a step back to ensure that I do not do anything impulsively. Second of all, I would in a way assess the core of the issue. Once you assess the core of the issue, you in a sense get an idea of how do you troubleshoot the said challenges. For example, like the challenges I've just given Lex Factor. What we communicated, we took a step back, we assessed the problem, and then we solved it. So don't panic, break it down, and take a moment to think. I think that should answer the question.
Thank you.
So I would say a notable challenge that I faced when organizing an event was when I directed Legal Summit. And on like a week before the event, our main caterer cancelled. I was lucky that I was liaising with multiple caterers, and I was able to, instead of getting stressed, I liaised with another caterer, and then we were able to get it all done perfectly and efficiently, and the food was amazing.
Do any of you have any questions for us?
Actually, I do have a question which actually pertains to what is your experience currently in dispute resolution compared to when you studied law school? How has law school actually helped you in your field and career right now?
I'm answering your question, I think law school gave me a strong foundation in legal principles, research skills, and critical thinking. It also taught me how to approach problems logically, understanding the legal language and applying all those law to the real problems. Most importantly, it taught me how to think like a lawyer. I think I would have a question as well. My question would be, are there any opportunities for us interns maybe to be considered as or considered for future privilege opportunities or employment as well?
Absolutely. We treat our internship as our training grounds. Many of our pupils were former interns who impress us with their hard work, performance, and commitment. I hope that answers your question.
If I may ask, how do you define success in this position? Like, what are the short-term, long-term goals? And do you have any advice or particular qualities that you guys like need to achieve?
Answering the situation's question, in the short term, success means being detail-oriented and meeting deadlines, showing a willingness to learn. Long term, it's more about developing sound legal reasoning and strong research skills and professionalism. Value qualities like initiative and discretion and intellectual curiosity. Also look for achievements that will show critical thinking skills and a more genuine interest in